Most people aren't struggling because change is hard, they're struggling because the lie that they were told about how change really works. You've been told a lie that it takes time, discipline, extreme effort, grinding through slow progress. And every time you couldn't stick with it, you assumed that there was something wrong with you. But the problem was never you, it was the lie itself. In 2025, a peer-reviewed study found that identity, not discipline, is what drives your behavior. Meaning, the moment that you shift the right part of who you believe you are, change doesn't take time, it cascades. What's crazy is even ancient Hermetic teachings hinted at the exact same thing. That transformation begins the instant your inner self-image changes. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the truth about change that no one ever told you, and the one lever that makes transformation feel instant. So like I said, people don't fail because of discipline. Discipline is certainly important, don't get me wrong. But most people fail because they're trying to force change from the outside, from purely behavioral changes, when the most powerful mechanism lives on the inside. So it's not your habits, it's not your motivation, or even your mindset. It is your identity. I gotta get better at squeegeeing, I think. The internal model that tells your brain, this is who we are, this is how we behave. And because nobody ever tells you this or taught you, you blame yourself every failed attempt, and that's the lie we're breaking today. Let's call something out clearly, the slow progress narrative. Now, to quote James Clear, and I will say that I am a fan of this guy for sure, teaching people habits and getting 1% better every day. I am a huge fan of this model, but it's not complete. I'll just put 1% better. And we'll call this the slow progress model. This model benefits everyone sort of except you. I mean, if change takes months or years, you'll buy more things, you'll buy more fill in the blank. In fact, you might even join accountability groups. Again, I have done all of these things, so I'm not poo-pooing on any of these. But you'll stay dependent on motivation and discipline as the core primary driver. The entire change takes time ecosystem survives because you believe transformation is very long and painful, this huge, crazy march uphill that you have to take all the time, right? Carrying this giant boulder on your shoulder, and you're struggling here, right? Going uphill, just gasping for air. And you also get something out of complaining about it all the time too. So hard. And I'm laughing because I've been this guy many times, so it's all good. But what if this exact belief kept you stuck? I mean, would you be open to that possibility? So if you're open to that possibility, here's a question to that. What if change isn't slow? What's the lever that makes change feel instant? Hold that, because once you see the mechanism, everything in your life will make sense. So here's the study again. In 2025, Alfrey and a gang of people published a peer-reviewed study in behavioral sciences that most people have never heard of. They found that identity influences behavior more than motivation and intention across every major domain they tested. And they tested health, lifestyle, support seeking, academics, and emotional patterns. And so identity wasn't just involved, it was the actual force between all of these, the mover of them. Meaning if you shift the right part of your identity, your behavior follows automatically. Not eventually, not the 66 days that we all talk about, immediately. And here's the part that blows most people away. Thousands of years before modern psychology, Hermetic teachings describe transformation as something that begins the moment you alter your inner image of yourself. Not 30 days, not 10,000 reps, the moment the inner self shifts. The moment the inner self shifts, the outer behavior sort of reorganizes around itself. So modern research is basically confirming what ancient wisdom hinted at a very, very long time ago. No woo-woo, clean, physiological. So why then is the slow progress model so attractive, so appealing to most people? Why is it the main school of thought around change? I want to make this really clear, okay, is that the slow model works, all right, but it's a model that keeps you trapped. See, number one is that discipline fights. You're in a street fight right now. Identity. And you can definitely force discipline for a few days, or you can make it a habit, right? But if your identity hasn't changed, it is in constant opposition with trying to do the very thing that you want to be doing. And so it's going to be pulling it back. Number two is that motivation is also in a fight with identity, right? Every cycle of on then off reinforces the identity of someone who stops. Number three, time does not create identity. Repetition, what you do over and over and over, creates or rebuilds the identity, but only if it is aligned with who you believe that you are. So the self-help world sort of has you chasing the least effective lever. So here's the real truth again, change isn't slow. Change feels slow when you're pulling the wrong lever. The right lever is this: shift the identity, generating the behavior. Identity is the seeds that sprout, that then produce the actual fruit, okay? So if we shift the seeds, of course you're going to give birth to new fruit. So when this shifts, everything cascades. Identity level shifts don't require discipline. They don't require motivation. It does not require forcing yourself. It happens because your brain is designed to act in alignment with the identity it believes that is real. So let me show you what this looks like in real life, because I know you got many questions. I had a client of mine, we'll call him Alex. He was in his early 30s, incredibly smart, and I am putting that lightly, and very capable, and also very emotionally aware, very high EQ, emotional intelligence. Yet he was stuck in the same loop for years. He'd get inspired, right? He'd start out strong, he definitely had some discipline, but then he'd fall off and feel ashamed, right? And so it was like this loop. Start. Shame. Start again. And it got to a point where we just would sort of laugh about it, right? Because that's one of the easiest things to do rather than get incredibly crippled with shame, is just to laugh at your humanness, laugh at your cycles that you have, of failure that you have. Because when you have a sense of humor to it, just in brief, it allows you to accept things about yourself and why the things aren't the way they are. It allows you to sort of depersonalize the failures that you're having. And that's a huge important thing to do, is to be able to depersonalize them, almost to see yourself from a third party and kind of laugh at your retarded self. And Alex was right. I mean, he had discipline, but there was always something that caused him to fall off. He was obeying an old identity, and his internal story was basically, I am someone who struggles to stay consistent. I've always been this way. And I just want you guys to think about that right now. How many times have you said that? I am somebody who always falls off. I am somebody who always has an issue with consistency, okay? So I want you to really think about that. See yourself in Alex's story, because when you have that go on over time, it becomes who you are. And even if you have times of be consistent, because it is not in alignment with your identity, you will create situations that will have you then thus prove of how inconsistent you are. This is how crazy this stuff is. This stuff is so bizarre. It doesn't even make logical sense. Like, things are moving and grooving in the right way, the way that you said that you wanted. and you're getting the results, and then you go and you unconsciously sabotage it because it is not how you see yourself. So for you and for Alex, right, the question was, what if you're not inconsistent? You're just loyal to that past identity that no longer really fits you. And in this specific conversation, I could see it in his face, right? This whole entire shift. Like his nervous system had finally exhaled. And from that moment on, his actions changed. Not because he forced them to, but because he rewired the identity that he was acting from. And he didn't find a new self by going into his past. He stepped into a new one, a designed self. A designed self. So the obvious question then is, how do you actually shift this identity? Not physiologically, not vaguely, not metaphorically, not mechanically. To simplify, you guys might laugh, I have a protocol almost for everything, but for basics here in this video, I'm gonna go into a basic 4-step protocol that will come in with this. And if you're watching right now, don't just be passive, be active in this. Take notes, put something in the comments. When you do that, it sticks with you so much more. Step 1, expose the false identity. So you can't really shift what you don't actually see, or if you're such in deep shame about it, you're hiding, you're what I call protecting and defending an identity that no longer works for you. So we got to get to a place where we can see where we're operating from. And one of the things that I like to do, like I said earlier, is just laugh about it, have a little bit of humor about it. Almost see this as your retarded self, if you will. So like write down right now, what identity have I been living in that I never consciously chose? Like Alex, right? I always fall off. Wah. Wah. Or here's some other ones for you. I always overthink everything. Wah. Come on, we're just humans here. I'm a laugh. Johnny, I've tried everything. I just can't change. Everybody else can change but me. So if you watch one of my other videos, this is that borrowed room that you've been living inside. Just take a look at my other videos if this doesn't make sense. Step 2, we're gonna break this story loop. Break this loop. So your brain repeats the story because it's simply familiar. You have tons of data points on it. You've got history, you've got evidence. And so what we're gonna do is interrupt it. Again, this is a very basic version of this, but you can get started on it today, is that we're gonna say something along the lines of used to be, and then fill in the blank on any of these above, okay? I used to be the person that overthink everything. I used to be the person that fell off, or I used to be the person that said, I can't change. And you might be asking yourself, but I'm still that person right now. In fact, I did this yesterday. It doesn't matter. We're gonna basically brainwash ourselves. It's not affirmations. In short, part of reality creation is done through language, okay? You just have to trust me on this. That when we repeat stuff like this over and over and over again, it starts to work in our subconscious and starts to shift our identity. It's more of a reclassification of your old self. Okay, step 3, we're going to shift the identity label. I didn't spell label right. Label. Identity labels are so incredibly powerful. Things like, I'm an athlete, I am an athlete, I am a creator, I am a CEO, I am a finisher, I'm a builder, right? Et cetera, et cetera. And the crazy part about this is you do not need proof first. I repeat, you do not need proof first. Identity comes before behavior, and this is where that instant shift happens. Okay, and number 4, take one behavior that matches that identity. Not 20 habits, not a new morning routine, one behavior. Identity needs evidence, not overwhelm. So when your actions match your identity, your brain locks it in as actual truth, and the changes cascade. So here's what you do next. In the comments below, At points in this video where I said to do something, do them now. Shift your identity from somebody who I watches passively and consumes to I'm somebody who actively watches videos and takes action on them, even if very simple actions. If you want to apply to work with me directly, the link is below. Peace, and I'll see you in the next one.